She didn't believe me at first, but when the children had an experience that same night, well, that changed her mind.
And I saw her with her hands sticking up, doing this.
It was so real that I actually screamed, "Mom, what the heck are you doing here?" You could call it near hysterical, frantic, but that's how real it was. Except when I got to the bottom of the escalator, she was gone.
I had a real nice bringing up in the home. Mom was a lovely woman. She would like to do a lot of baking, cooking. She really loved her cleaning. She always believed in a clean home. She'd stick up for her children. If you had any problems, she'd be the first one there to help you out. And she was a wonderful mother.
I'm Lawrence Chow, and welcome to Ghostly Encounters. Today we explore just how long forever is when you're talking about a mother's love. Ron and Pam both loved their moms and both believe that the complex loving mother-child relationship didn't end with death. Ron's a father himself, and he understands how deeply a parent can love. That helps him when it appears to both Ron and his kids that his mother's ghost has come home.
My mother, she was in a nursing home. Her body was physically finished, but her mind was very strong. She could talk and she could think. She was a very strong person in that way. And I promised my mother that as soon as we got a bigger home, she could come live with us. And the last word she said to me was, "I'll see you at the new home." And I says, "That's right." So the wife and I, we went home. We got a call 3 o'clock in the morning from the hospital. Said, "You better come down." So we got there around 4:30. My mother had passed away. And I kind of figure,
You cried?
Well, I did my share of crying, yeah. Because Mom was my best friend. The way I look at it is that she come into the new home. We promised her to come into that new home, and she did. My wife and I we were in bed, and our daughter Trinity happened to see something that was abnormal. Do you want to say anything there, Trinity, about it?
Okay. I was going to the washroom. I washed my hands. I looked up in the mirror to brush my hair back. I didn't even see myself. I seen her, Nanny, and it started going. It was gone, but then when I looked up, I only seen half of my face, and then it went. It was scary. I just seen her face going. I was like, with that, and I was shaking to death. So I screamed for my dad. And I started crying, but then my dad was there, and then he said, "What's wrong?" And I said, I think I see Nanny. And then he just said, "It's okay, she won't do anything, she won't even hurt you." That's all.
I advised her that Nanny's not going to hurt her, because Nanny's never hurt anybody in her life, and she's there to look after her and look out for her.
She was wearing the exact same shirt with, it says Irene on it. When I seen her in the mirror, because you could see a little bit of her shirt, like right here.
In the nursing home, they
Took off
label your shirts and your clothing. And on Mom's it had Irene up on here. And the shirt that Trinity has seen was the same shirt that my mother passed away in.
It was white and it had a little like flowers on it.
Yeah.
Right here.
Right. It had her name on the front.
Yeah.
And that shirt was hung up in the closet.
I wouldn't go back in there ever again.
My son
Scary.
Kevin had an instance. He also went into the bathroom and had something strange happen to him. You want to tell him about it, Kevin?
Yeah, I went to the bathroom because I had stuff over my hands from supper, and then it was near bedtime, and then I just looked over to the shower, and I saw her with her hands sticking up, doing this. I just ran upstairs, and I was shaking my face, and my eyes were like wide, very wide. And then I said, "I saw Nanny," and I started crying.
His face was like that, but pale, and it was so scary.
They never slept well after that. They get half-hour sleeps, sleep for an hour, then up again. It was never the same. My wife and I were just happened to be sitting in the front room watching TV. And all of a sudden, the hair on my arm started standing up. Then I knew there was something wrong here. I promised her that she would come into her home, and she said her last words to me that she will be in that home. And I figured that's why she's there.
Did you see her?
I seen her in the kitchen. My wife and I were just happened to be sitting in the front room watching TV, and you just get this feeling that there's somebody watching you. You know, it's hard to describe. And I started looking around the front room, and behind our front room is the kitchen. It's directly right behind us. And I looked and never seen anything. So I continued to watch TV, and I looked over to my wife, and she never noticed anything. And all of a sudden, the hairs on my arm started standing up, and I knew something wasn't right. And I just happened to look back in towards the kitchen, and I happened to see my mother standing there. You could see it was a ghost. You could see right through her, but she was dressed normally like she was when she was at home all the time. And it was my mom. There's no question about it, because she had her apron on, and she had the washcloth, and this is all she ever did when I lived at home. She was constantly cleaning, and she had the same apron on, the same one. There was no mistaking for it. You could see right through her. It was her figure. If you walked up to it, you could probably put your hand right through her. I looked at her for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and I turned my head back towards the TV and looked at my wife, and she never noticed anything. And then I looked back again. She was gone. She was gone. I never said nothing no more that night. I look at it as she's like a guardian angel to me, and she's looking on me at all times. Mom and I, we were very, very close. She was my best friend. If I had a problem, I could tell her, and she'd always figure that problem out. And if I had a problem in the house, I have a feeling she would have been there to help. But kind of scared the kids, though. They never did use that bathroom again.
Ron wanted to give his mother the love she'd given him. He promised her she'd live in his house one day, and he believes she came back to collect on that promise. Our historical expert tells me that claiming unfulfilled promises is a traditional element of many ghostly encounters. It's interesting that Irene's last words to her son were that she would one day live with him. Trinity saw her nanny in the mirror. Ghosts appearing as reflections are another classical belief. Mirrors are said to be borders between the real and the unreal. But some maternal bonds are more complicated than Ron and Irene's. Let's meet Pam and see what happens when her mother passes away.
When I was living at home, she and I didn't really get along too well because I was always an independent type of a person. And I hate to say it, I guess being a mother, she felt she had to have some kind of control. And being independent, you like your own control. And it was kind of a off-on, I wouldn't say hate relationship, but love-dislike relationship. The sad part of it is when I moved out, we started to get close. It was wonderful. She actually apologized for the years she wasn't that nice to me. We sat and had very good, deep discussions, and it was just blooming into a wonderful mother-daughter, mature relationship until everything went. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and if you don't know anything about pancreatic cancer, you're in horrific pain. She was bedridden most of the time. The doctor had said to us, there's a chance she might survive. There's a chance the growth in her won't grow anymore. And if that be the case, who knows, she might live a little longer. She was given 6 months. She lasted 8. She passed away, it was a Friday night, and it was about 4:30 at night, and even though she was suffering for 8 months, it still hits you pretty hard. Part of me went with her to her grave when she passed away. I was never the same person. I was known to be a very happy-go-lucky, always smiling, always laughing person. I'm not always happy-go-lucky, always smiling, always happy person anymore. A tremendous sadness came over when my mom passed away. I don't know what made me look out the window to the sky as if I was wondering if she was up there or not yet. But I noticed there was a full moon. And I did it for 6 weeks every night. And there was a full moon every night for 6 weeks. There was a full moon every night for 6 weeks, which was very eerie because, as we all know, you never get it every day, especially for 6 weeks nonstop. And every night, my older sister and I looked out the window and we were like, can you believe it? Maybe Mom is in the moon or so to speak, because nonstop for 6 weeks there was a full moon each night. We both saw it.
Full moons, they usually appear for 1 or 2 nights. But for 6 weeks? Strange. But Pam's sister saw it too. What could explain that? The reason might be wrapped up in the way Pam saw her mother. Right before her death, her mom looked beautiful, almost lit from within. Did that transfiguration continue after her mother's death? Did she go from being lit from within to being fully transformed into light? It's a comforting way to remember somebody you love, isn't it? And it didn't end with the moon. Pam was to see her mother again, and again she was bathed in light, and she was beautiful. "6 months after my mother's death, I
was working in a major department store. And one Saturday, out of the blue, I just happened to be coming down the escalator at the department store. And lo and behold, at the bottom of the escalator, looking like she was shopping, was my mother. As clear as the people I've seen today, that's how clear she was standing there. It was so real that I actually screamed, "Mom, what the heck are you doing here?" And what even made it more believable is she responded by looking up and didn't say out loud, but she just kind of looked sorry. And I said to her, "Does Dad know you're here? Does Dad know you're shopping after what you've been through in the past months? What the heck is happening here?" You could call it near hysterical, frantic, but that's how real it was. Except at the end, when I got to the bottom of the escalator, she was gone. I was extremely upset. If she was going to come to me, so to speak, why didn't she come to my home, or why at work? But the only normal thing I thought of was that she loved to shop, and every Saturday was her day, and she liked to go to this particular department store. I don't know what made me do this, but I ran around the corner and went upstairs and then back down that same escalator, and lo and behold, there she was again as I was going down the escalator. And this time I looked at the people who were with me on the escalator, and I started yelling at her again, "Just stay there. I told you to stay. Don't move." And they were looking at, it seemed, at her like I was seeing her. I knew if I'm seeing a vision, so are they. What I found also very strange is there was a group of people, like a halo around her. Strangely enough, it actually looked like not floating, but that they were moving with her. When she moved, they moved. She was looking at me, they were looking at her. They never looked at me. They were always like watching over her. The reason I kind of put two and two together that they were either her guardians or ghosts like her was that when I was at the bottom of the escalator and she was gone, so were they. They disappeared when she did. I definitely knew it was a vision, but it was so real and so upsetting because I knew it was a vision. And here's another reason why I knew it was a vision. She had a fake fur coat that she had handed down to me, and I had thrown it out months before that. She was wearing this particular coat that actually looked brand new, and she looked beautiful. She looked beautiful. It eased the pain seeing my mom. It made me think, okay, what is she trying to tell me? Or what was she trying to tell me? And it's like, hey, as you can see, I'm pretty good. I'm not in pain anymore. And I might be shopping, so to speak, wherever I am. And I just want you to see that.
Like many women of her generation, Pam's mother was happy in that downtown Toronto store. The need to know her mom was okay may be why Pam saw her there, instead of in the house where she was in such pain. Ron's account places his mother back into her domain as well. Seeing his mother cook and clean the way she did while he was growing up brought back happy memories for Ron. No wonder his reaction was so calm. Not so for Trinity and Kevin. Their memories of her were less about cookies and more about illness, and both say they saw her ghost in a bathroom, a place where we expect privacy. It's not surprising that they were terrified under those circumstances. And yet, despite their fear, the kids know that Ron's mom loved them, just as Pam is sure of her mother's love, a love that they all believe is indeed forever.
To this day, I think of her every day. I think of her every day. And I've been told by a grievance counselor, if you don't, a lot of the ghosts, so to speak, don't come, if they know that you are a non-believer. And this is why I have a funny feeling my mother never appeared before my dad, because my dad was even though he loved ghost movies, he was totally a non-believer of spiritual things. So I've been told by people in this profession that you have to believe in it in order for them to make an appearance, so to speak.
I never believed in ghosts.
I never either.
Until this point. I'm one of those persons, you have to see it to believe it. And I seen what I seen, and I believe in ghosts. Nobody's going to change my mind. I seen it.
This high-flying real-life series will have you airborne.
Can you give me an anxiety pill, please?
On Airline. Then, let the games begin on Caesars 24/7, where the stakes are high and the bets are real.
You took my money!
Airline, followed by Caesars 24/7. Tuesdays starting at 10, only on Via. True story.